Now the attention is equivalent with currency. The more attention you're going to get from your ideal customers, the more results you're going to bring to your advertising campaigns. You see, first, you get their attention. Second, you get their time. And third, you get the sale. As you can see, you cannot get the sale until you get first their attention. And the only way to do that is by having a disruptive and very compelling ad hook. So here's my list of proven ad hooks that could potentially bring a return on ad spend from 2x to all the way up to 10x. The first and the easiest ad hook that you can create, first of all, is going to be what I call an emotional ad hook. People buy because of emotions and they justify with logic, and that happens all the time. You see, starting with an emotional desire heightens the desire of your customers even further and makes your creative much more compelling. This is why a key note that I would really look at is when you start with this type of hook, it's important to show visually that desired outcome. Because you see, when it is visual, it is sellable. Now, to make this ad hook effective, you really have to dig very deep into the human psychology, into understanding your ideal customer. You have to ask yourself a question like, what precisely your ideal customers are seeking out? What kind of emotional desire are they trying to reach with your product? Are they looking to attract the opposite gender? Are they looking to gain status? What is that end goal? If they want, hypothetically, to feel more confident, starting with a hook, let's say with a person who looks confident while, let's say hypothetically they are wearing your product, will immediately increase your hook rate. Because at that time, you are literally showing exactly what they are thinking about on a daily basis. You see, I found that just by asking a simple question like, so what? You can actually go deeper and go through multiple layers and find out exactly that dream outcome, that end goal that your customers are trying to reach. After going through all these layers, you will definitely find out what is that end goal and what is that dream outcome. So then eventually you could go ahead and create the visuals that has to do with their end goal. Now, moving on to the second ad hook that I would really consider rolling out in your Facebook Ads Manager is what I call a destination A to destination B. Essentially here you want to start with the main struggle your customers are facing right now. This is going to be point A. This is where your customers are right now. This is where they don't feel comfortable. This is where they are just not feeling okay with their problems, right? With the current situation that they are currently in. The better you can articulate visually the struggle they are going through right now, the higher hook rate you will notice in your Facebook ad account. You see, how intimate you know your customers will dictate how high of your hook rate you will get from that particular ad. Because the better you understand your customers' problems, the better your visuals will be portrayed in your ad creatives. You see, if you just take the time and spend a little bit more on understanding your customer, understanding how they feel, how they look, you'll be able to pull off a much better ad hook that will resonate with that particular customer. On the flip side, if you just getting lazy and you don't understand very well your customer on a very deep level, their problems, their struggles, you'll just keep rolling out new creatives, but they will not convert as you'd like to. The point that I'm trying to make is very simple. When you understand so well your customer, it's just simply impossible to not create a much better ad hook, because at the time you can literally resonate with that next potential customer. The more you resonate with your ideal customer, the more they will pay attention to your ad, and eventually the more they will spend time with your business and eventually convert. The next ad hook will involve something more disruptive, something that has to do with your product and its unique selling proposition. Like this ad that you can see right here. This ad highlights its durability, but in a very different way. Something that will definitely grab people's attention. Now, for this type of ad hook, you'll definitely need to ensure that you have a much more superior product. Something that probably people have not seen so much, a new kind of mechanism, something that might be innovative, maybe edgy, maybe even gripping. So you want to go back to your business, to your product, and look at what your product is different from all the competitors out there. What is that unique selling proposition that you could put as an ad hook? What you could use as a new mechanism that will grab people's attention. After doing that and stretching a little bit your creative muscle mind, you'll be able to pull off an ad that will be both something that is disruptive and also compelling to your audience. The fourth ad hook is as simple as calling out your ideal customers. You see, calling out your ideal customers is like calling someone by his or her name. When you go and when you call, let's say, your friend and you say, "Hey, John," well, John will definitely look at you. This is the same thing with calling out your ideal customers. When you say hypothetically that this is for athletes, or this product is for elevated men, or these are for the women on the go, people who see themselves in that category will be more likely to pay attention to it because it's about them. Let's say what it is about you, you at least, the bare minimum what you will do is you will just look at, a glimpse of what is that about. Moving forward, a great ad stopper for e-commerce brands that I've seen work over and over again is what I call an educational based ad hook. In a world where a lot of e-commerce brands are trying to be salesy and too pushy, trying to add value upfront will be a much better choice to have someone pay attention to your ad, pay attention to what you say, and pay attention to your expertise. If you come across as a brand who constantly helps and adds value to your ideal customers' lives, there is no way to not be able to increase your return on ad spend and ultimately your profits. Because when you add value upfront, what happens, it creates what we call the reciprocity sales psychological trigger. So what happens here is when you are trying to genuinely add value to your customers' lives, they will feel obligated to give something back. In our case, most likely it's going to be an order. So helping people with tips, hacks, and tricks, and then, introducing the product as a way to use all those tips enumerated before will immediately increase your hook rate, but not only that, but also at the same time your conversion rate. Number 6, and this is an additional thing that you can add to your ads, and that is a green screen effect. I would consider this type of ad hook for products that have a relatively low average order value, something less than $500. Because if you sell more luxurious products, more in the range of $1,000 and above, this type of ad hook will actually not resonate that much with that particular customer. But that is a totally different topic and we'll not get into that. For now, if you're selling products that have a pretty low or, not a very high ticket price, I would definitely give it a try because it comes across as authentic and more genuine, and it just doesn't look like an ad. It just looks like an organic post from one of your customers' friends. And because of that, and on top of that, people just don't like that much to see ads or to kind of feel that sold. Using this effect will give you much higher chances to get someone's attention and to make them stay and watch the whole video. Usually what happens is when you're using a green screen effect, people tend to forget that it's an ad, right? And then second of all, after that it's just quite late for them to go back to scrolling or to whatever they were doing before. And they're just in your brand, before you know it, they are on your website. And now if you did a great job with your conversion rate on your website, it's already too late for them to not click on the buy it now button and purchase from you. Next ad hook, highly converting for e-commerce brands, is different use cases. Not only that you'll handle one of the biggest objections your customers might have, and that it has to do where they can use your product for. You will also provide a lot of value upfront to your customers. And as we discussed in the hook number 5, this is going to be drastically, helpful for your brand to increase your conversion rate and to increase your return on ad spend. Because you are again helping people upfront, you are building a rapport with your potential next customers, which that leads to having a much better relationship with those new next potential customers, allowing you to keep them and retain those customers for a longer period of time, resulting in a higher lifetime customer value, which then results in more profits and more revenue. The last but not the least powerful ad hook for e-commerce brands is what I call a statistic-driven ad. This ad shows that 61% of people prefer men in jewelry. Now, as a man, if I see something like this, and my desire is, for example, to get attention from the opposite gender, I am inclined to find out more and watch, the whole video, or look at the picture and read more of the ad copy. You see, statistics can channel the desire and make us want more of that product, because we've been wired that statistics and data just must be true. Now, a lot of ad hooks that I uncovered in today's video were using different human psychological tricks and tactics, such as the third-party validation, which that is essentially the social proof, or aka the statistic ad that we just showed recently. And the thing is that brands use this all the time, because they are very, very effective when using correctly. Now, there are a lot more human persuasion techniques that you can use for your brand and that you will find mesmerizing and very captivating for your brand. To find them out, click over here, because in it I talk about 13 human psychological triggers that can enhance, your return on ad spend, and that can be used for decades. And as usual, Archie was here, and I am cheering you on.